If you were to letter grade Spencer Danielson this year as a head coach in his second year, where do you think you would go? What would you grade him? And can he improve that grade with a victory or an excellent showing in the LA Bowl? Call 208-424-9300. We want that grade. Year two. What type of job has Spencer Danielson done for you, Bronco Nation? Call the Taco Bell hotline. Prater, last year, I don't want to call it an easy peasy, but we all know what Spencer Danielson was left with at this program. And to his credit, what Spencer Danielson and who Spencer Danielson went out and got to help him as assistant coaches last year. This year, he didn't have near the help, and his back was against a wall a lot earlier this year than it ever was last year. Has he done a better job this year than last year when you think about it?
No, no, not even close. I think this is, and I don't say this lightly, I think this is Spencer Danielson's poorest coaching performance in his 2.5 years. When he took over in 23, 4, 5, 6 games, whatever he coached, it was all about passion and emotion and momentum, and it was a beautiful ride, and he did a fantastic job. And for that short period of time, I'll give him an A for exactly what he did. I don't care about a bowl game. And then last year, sometimes it's hard when the expectations are high, and he exceeded the expectations. We all knew that Ashton Jeanty was going to be special. Nobody thought he would finish second in the Heisman Trophy. We all knew that the football team would be good. I don't think anybody expected it to end in a CFP game against Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. We all knew that Dirk Cutter was going to bring some kind of moxie to this football team, and he did. And I thought it was pretty smooth. So when the expectations or the razor-thin line is right there and you don't fall off, I give him another A. So the first 2 years that he was a head coach, I give him an A. This year, I'm going to give him a C+ right now for a lot of different things. I think that there's been inconsistencies all over this season. The early road woes, especially South Florida, not being prepared, showing up for your season opener not prepared, that puts you in an F, and you're digging your hole out of that F. The wide receiver room was grossly inoperable this year, if you ask me. The 4 losses and how ugly that they were. The penalties, although I find that very, very interesting, and I was more fascinated this year by the penalties than anything else. I charted every single penalty, and when in the midst of all these penalties, every single football coach out there on Twitter kept saying, this is all about coaching discipline, coaching this, coaching that. I went back and looked at the school records. Under Chris Peterson, Boise State set every school record when it came to penalties. The most.
Pete's teams, who, by the way, will be on the show in an hour.
Yeah, Pete's going to join us. We won't ask him about penalties, but if you're going to sit here and say that penalties are about coaching and lack of discipline and not being focused and not being right, Chris Peterson had the worst penalized teams in the history of Boise State football consistently for most of his entire season there. So the penalties are still part of an issue. Poor USF performances, poor San Diego State performance, and not being prepared for a game plan and then screwing it up halfway through there. The run defense, and I could go do a lot of different things. I don't think that this has been a great coaching year, and a C+ as it stands right now. If you ask me, if they win and they get 10 games, they get 10 wins on Saturday night, I'll give him a B-.
Is Prater out of his rocker here? Is Prater motorboating himself on this theory here? Spencer Danielson C+ letter grade for this year, 208-424-9300. What would you guys give him? Put it in the chat too. By the way, this is our YouTube segment. This segment airing on the KTIK YouTube channel.
What are you giving him?
You're asking Ballgame or me?
Both.
Okay, well, I'll go. I think that I'm a little higher than you. First off, Ballgame, are you just going to try and get motorboat into every show now?
Yeah.
It seems like
it just comes to me, man.
Concerted effort on your part there, but I will go with a B- right now. I think this game can move the needle half a letter grade. So if he wins it, I think I'll go to a B. If he loses it, I'm at a C+. I think that when you look at the 8-4 mark, I guess you could probably say Fresno State in terms of the losses, where we look back and say, yeah, you should have had that one. Because by the end of the season, I know they were a gambling favorite against South Florida, but I think South Florida was a better team than Boise State this year. Notre Dame was certainly a better team than Boise State this year. And I may even argue for most of the season, San Diego State was better, and they didn't have Maddox Madsen in that game. Weird weather. Okay, I can deal with that one. So I kind of look at the Fresno game as the one that I circle and say, even with Maddox getting hurt in the middle of that game, you probably should have had that one. And clearly they were not very prepared for Cutforth having to come in like that. And that's an indictment on the coaching staff. But I think the way that they got
how
back
is Max Cutforth supposed to be prepared in an emergency fire drill situation?
Like, you mean Fresno?
Aren't you supposed to be ready for those situations every week? Like, isn't that the whole point of a coaching staff's job to?
It's historical that backup quarterbacks come in and it's not gonna be seamless, guys. He's never taken a first team snap in his life. He sits on the bench. He takes, for every 10 snaps that Maddox Madsen makes, Max Cutforth gets 1.
All right, Prater, you were at a C+, and you're
saying,
saying,
by the way, I'm also adding special teams. I forgot to add that to the list. A horrible performance from special teams this year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's no two ways about that. They were bad on special teams, but you're at a C+, and wouldn't you agree that the Fresno loss was the worst of the 4 losses?
No, because I thought San Diego State was by far. There were circumstances in the Fresno State loss. Cam Bates dropping a pass that probably could have changed not only the trajectory of that game, but the trajectory of the entire season. Continuous drops. And for Max Cutforth to come in, yeah, the team laid an egg. There's no doubt about it. But I think that there was a lot of people involved there. That wasn't just a Spencer Danielson thing. Going into San Diego State with a decent game plan in those circumstances and then abandoning it in the first quarter and getting away from it and calling a game that reminded me of a junior high coaching staff. That's the San Diego State coaching debacle to me was horrible.
But I thought you just said you liked the game plan against San Diego.
Going into it, but then they abandoned it and then they screwed it up and it just became attack.
Because of
the lack of attack, lack of attack. And he stood up at the press conference the next day and said, we completely screwed up that game. And I couldn't agree with him more.
Okay, fair enough. And are you saying that they would have won the game if they didn't change that game plan though? Or if they did change the game plan?
No, but I'm saying they would have won Fresno. They could have won Fresno State if Cam Bates makes that catch.
But they lost the game, 31-7 though? I mean, was it that big of a drop?
Yeah,
I know it sounds crazy, but I almost agree with him on that, Greg. Football's an emotional game. I almost think Boise State cruises against Fresno like everybody else.
Well, I know, to be clear, it's not like we're in different stratospheres here. Prater said C+, I said B-.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just not getting him. I'm just not going to give him. I'm not going to ding him for the Fresno State thing. There were so many circumstances there. That was just a tsunami, and you can't get out of the way. The San Diego State thing, I think the coaching staff completely butchered the San Diego State game.
Guys, keep the grades coming. Spencer Danielson, how did he do this year 2?
Don't get out of this ball game.
I'm B- because he won the league. I'm not going to give anybody a C for winning a league. And you could say, well, this and Prater, you make great points, but he's holding the trophy on stage in front of his fan base that stormed his field. Like, I'm going to go B-. And you know what? If he beats the Dogs, and dang it, Spencer, you know it, he needs this win. I can give him a solid B on this year. If he wins 10 games, beats a Husky team, wins a league, maybe even a B+, man. 208-424-9300. What do you guys think? And moving forward, how old is too old? Mike Prater, how old is too old to wear a Florida Gators sweatshirt?
Never too old.
Never. I'm with you on
that.
that.
Have to do with anything?
How old is too old to wear your hat backwards?
The minute you come out of the
that
womb.
Is coming next. Great tease. Of course, that made the list. We're going to have a fun game. How old is too old? Greg, Prater, Johnny, let's have some fun. KTIK, the ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio, this is Ticket Traffic.